Ciao guys and welcome back, it's your friend Luca, and in today's video we're gonna talk about the BlackMagic Video Assist 12G and if this is going to be a good monitor or external recorder for your camera. And in case you would like to test some footage filmed in BRAW with the external recorder, I will leave a link in the description where you can download some sample clips for free. And please don't forget to like and subscribe to support my work, that is also going to be for free. Talking about the monitor itself, I will say that this monitor is pretty fantastic, and that's why I chose this monitor over the Atomos Ninja 5, mostly for some characteristics that are very valuable for me. For example, this monitor is extremely bright, so it reaches up to 2500 nits compared to 1000 nits over the Atomos Ninja V. So this is a big plus for me, because when I film outdoor during pretty bright days, this monitor is going to make a huge difference for me. The quality of the display is pretty good. This monitor features a 10-bit HDR monitor, so in case you also need to color grade some HDR footage and you need a reference monitor to do so without spending a lot of money, this is also a great option to consider if you want to stay on budget. This monitor has SDI and HDMI in and out, so it is very versatile in case you want to use with consumer cameras, but also with cinema cameras that needs SDI out. It has 6 mounting options all around the cage, and the monitor is made out of metal, so in case you need to attach something quickly without buying a cage, it's possible to do it with this monitor. And another great feature of this monitor is that it is featured with 2 battery slots, so the battery life of this monitor is very long and you don't need to swap batteries very often, so you don't really need to go around with a V-mount power option in your camera system. And once you mount to Sony 970, you will be good for a few hours. Obviously, nothing is perfect about this device as a monitor, because if you consider the frame and the diagonal of the screen, I would say that I would have loved to have a little bit more of a diagonal of screen, so I could see things a little bit bigger, and the difference between this monitor and a 7-inch monitor, it's quite huge. So in this case I have a 7-inch monitor against the BlackMagic Video Assist that is 5-inch, and you can see that the difference is quite big. So I would say that for monitoring I will always pick a 7-inch monitor, because you will have a bigger view of what you're filming. But in terms of size and portability, the 5-inch is going to be pretty convenient most of the time, so it depends on what projects you're going to work with. I would say that the 5-inch is good enough and you can get used to it, but obviously a 7-inch is going to be better, but also bulkier and heavier in your camera bag. And talking about the video assist tools, I would say that this monitor is pretty good. The interface is not as good as the small HD in the professional monitors, but this is going to be good enough. But the only thing I miss about this monitor is about anamorphic D-squeeze, because this monitor has just 1.33, 1.5, 1.66 and 2 times anamorphic. I would have loved to see like variable values of anamorphic D-squeeze, because now the market starts to be a little bit more funky about the amount of anamorphic lenses we can buy with all different squeeze factors, and it would also be nice to have a vertical anamorphic squeeze. So this is probably one minor thing I will change about this monitor, but for the rest everything is great. So as a monitor, this device is pretty fantastic and I love to use it. But what about as an external recorder? Is it great? So let's talk first about the ports that you can use to record externally. You will have an SD card slot that is pretty convenient if you want to have a neat rig, so without things flying around your cage, and you can also attach an external SSD through the USB-C port. Now, talking about BlackMagic RAW and this codec, I would say that this codec is miles better than the internal codec you can have in your camera, even the 10-bit 4K or 6K recorded with your Lumix S1 or S5 Mark II. And in my case, I don't use it that much, because I noticed that the footage I film in BRAW has quite a bit of a digital look, probably because of the absence of the optical low pass filter on my Lumix S1. But as far as I understand, the user of the Lumix S5 Mark II or Mark II X, they don't have this problem of the digital look, so I don't know what's the problem about. I will say that in my case I don't really use much BlackMagic RAW, mostly because of this reason, but in case I need to film in slow motion and I don't want to see any ghosting introduced by the internal denoiser of the Lumix S Cameras, I would say that this device is a must-have because the motion is going to look much better. It's not really about the color tonalities and the dynamic range, because we are talking about very minimal changes, but when we talk about motion, when there is something moving around the frame, that doesn't have to be really fast, even just someone walking and filmed in 50 or 60p and you want to slow it down in post, most of the time when you use the internal codec you will see quite some ghosting happening because of the long GOP codec and the denoiser. So in case you care a lot about good motion in your footage, I consider that you must have an external recorder like the BlackMagic Video Assist or the Atomos Ninja V, because in that case the footage is going to look much better. Anyway, don't forget to download the sample clips I linked in the description and let me know what do you think about the color grading capabilities of BlackMagic RAW. So this is it for today, guys. Thank you so much for watching and I'll see you next time.